Hey, 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 family. Welcome back to my channel. Every time I'm away for too long, that's how I'm going to greet you. I am sending you peace, love, joy, and happiness to whatever part of the earth, whatever language, whatever time zone or frame of mind you are in. We have missed you. Yeah. 90s. And I am back, still no editor, but you know what? Super strong. I'm back with the love of my life, and I roped him in because there was this concept, discussion theme that I wanted to have, and he is very central to this discussion. So, yeah. Just pardon us if as the day goes on, then the lights change, then shadows come, then what. It's content, right? Let's focus.
Come away with me.
No.
Okay.
No. Today, I want you to come in with I do.
Oh, okay. Once in a lifetime, I found someone who loves me. Once in a lifetime, I found someone who wants me. I've been around the world, searched the universe. Girl, no one like you.
Hey.
Girl, I've been a lover, now I give thanks to Jehovah for someone like you. I want to sing you my song. I want to carry on for the rest of my life. Girl, I say I do. Forever want to share my life with you. Anything it takes, girl, I will do. Girl, I say I do. Girl, I say I do. Forever want to share my life with you. Anything it takes, girl, I go do. Girl, I say I do. I want to tell my mother that I found a lover that is one in a billion. There is no wahala. All you have to do is holla. And I'll be running like a stallion. I fly you around the world, show you off my girl. From Lagos to New York, there's no one in between. Girl, you got my crib, you have authority. I wanna sing you my song, I wanna carry on for the rest of my life. A girl, I say I do. Forever wanna share my life with you. Anything it takes, girl, I will do. Girl, I say I do.
I thought you were just going to go to the chorus. I thought you were just going to do the equivalent of come away with me. J.
But you want to do chicken one.
But that song is so valid, so relevant is the word. Your English came by ship, then it still took a donkey to my village. And then the town crier still needed to walk by foot, stand on the mountain and hit the drum for it to come to me. So if we break it a bit, just bear, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last video we did, I caught like a thing, an epiphany, and I was like, yeah, we need to do this. And then, life happened, school, Mrs. South Africa. You guys, have you gone to vote? Tell them they must vote. Vote for me.
Osa.
Mrs. South Africa.
Mrs. South Africa 2020. Crown of Virtue.
So I'm wondering if it's going to be 2020 or 2021, but okay.
Yeah.
Focus. I've been telling the children, focus is a superpower.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Like when they're in school, they get all over the show, and I say to them, if you can just literally in a classroom of my size with 10 children, everybody in a completely different grade, for you to be able to focus and not get distracted with somebody else's business, it takes supernatural abilities. Focus is a superpower. Some of them have mastered it, some of them haven't, but yeah. Okay, and the other superpower in this day and age is adaptability, but I'll be talking about that on another topic. So I there are times you've spoken to me like, or we just shared about where we were, who we were, what we did before we got married, and I would listen to your story especially, and there were aspects of your story that just really, I'm feeling emotional thinking about it now. I would hear it and I would just cry, because once I remember early in our marriage, I was so protective over you, and the Holy Spirit had to tell me at one point that He's called me to help you, but not to get in His way.
Help me.
He has called me to help you, but not to get in his way. I mustn't help you to the point that I do not allow him the place of the divine helper. Right? Because I just had this thing, like, I know, like, even in our marriage, long after the other life that you lived before we met, which is what we want to talk about. But in our marriage, we'd been through, in ministry, quite a bit of betrayal and backstabbing and just pain. And I thought it was unique to us, but I realized that it's just ministry, right? And because I had been in corporate and I'd been used to boardroom politics, and I was just like, no, here you can't play, because I took the Lord into the boardroom. So I was a superior match to anyone. You can't beat the blood of Jesus. I mean, there was people going to do muti, witchcraft to deal with me, and God would reveal and God will, solve the problem. So I thought I had left that there. But when you come into the church,
the serpent was in the garden. The serpent was in the garden.
As in, whatever part of Africa you want to say, if you're in Ghana and you say church, you're in East Africa and you say church, you're in West Africa, Nigeria, and you say church.
You in South Africa?
You still say church. How you spell it, Shem? It don't make a difference. It'll school you and spit you out. And you got to be a soldier. But you know what I realized? Is that if you're not broken, you can't be poured out. If you're not broken, you can't be served out. The communion, the body and the blood of Jesus Christ had to be broken by his own to be served now to humanity, for us to be saved. So if you're not ready for a breaking, but it took me some learning.
And that breaking is where the power is.
Yes. I told you about that sea mollusk, the sea mollusk that was the source of the color purple. Like in the olden days when they would dye clothes purple, and purple was a sign of royalty. But where did the purple color come from? It came from this little creature called a sea mollusk, and they would they come out around the sea, and the merchants would go to the sea and take them. They're like a little snail, they're in the family of the snail, and they would crush them, and what would come out of them was a pure white milk. But once it made contact with oxygen, it turned purple. And this is what they dyed the clothing into. And I realized that the royalty did not come till some crushing occurred. You don't get the anointing from the oil till the olive is crushed. It's just, the way it is. But it was some schooling for me. And so it made me very protective over you. And any pastor's wife will tell you that they've all been through this. They're just like, you know what? I've seen my husband, work for you. I've seen him sacrifice for you. I've seen him pay your children's school fees before mine. I've seen him see to your rent, whatever it was. And then when you had used him and cleaned yourself like it was toilet roll, and you were done, you would dump him in the toilet and flush. Every pastor's wife has made this vow to herself that when things turned, and when things changed, I will not forget. And I saw a message today that is so pertinent to that. It said, and I thought to myself, is this Christian? It says, never forget 3 types of people in your life. Those who helped you in difficult times, those who left you in difficult times, and those who put you in difficult times.
Wow.
So I was like, that's where I was. I was just like, I'm never going to forget. I'm never going to forget. And because I know my husband forgets the minute it's done.
I think
he's like, move on.
I needed to have a large heart to forgive. Otherwise, the bitterness will block me. I've been through, I was rejected before I was born by my father, my biological father. So you can imagine that I was born into this war, this rejection.
Yeah.
And
that song you wrote, it says the battle line was drawn before I was born.
So it was so bad in Benin because my grandfather was rich, and they thought my mom was a gold digger because my father was the first son.
They had rap lyrics when he was born.
so they thought, okay, so you coming for the riches of this man. They made my mom swear on this altar. If this man is the father of this child, both baby and child will live. But if he is not, both mother and child will die.
Dude, this is African
at
magic.
birth. And my mom said, fine, bring it, we'll sew it on, because I knew. And my mom went through that. And that was not enough. So I was born into that war. I was born into that rejection. I was born into that. And they didn't stop there.
But here's my point, is that when you then come into ministry, you just assume you left that in the world the same way I assumed I left it in corporate.
Even while I was in church, I mean, it's just that, let me tell you one, I went through so much backstabbing and betrayal in church in my teens, in my youth, and even in my, there was a time the Lord said to me, because I said, no, Lord, I said, Lord, these guys owe me an apology, because my name was always in
everybody's mouth.
I'm telling you, one day my pastor, he said, look, why are they always reporting this guy? Why? I went through so much of that. And sometimes people are threatened by your gifts, by what you carry. And the enemy is just like a Joseph story. And you know what God told me one day? He said, if you want to be my Joseph, stop asking for apologies. Because I said to the Lord, these guys owe me an apology. The people who just lying about me, always constantly speaking evil about me, because I live a pure life, I live a clean life, prayerful, always serving. So I got used to, one of my friends called me a lone ranger. She said, you're such a lone ranger. I was everybody's buddy.
Okay, here's my problem. Is that you then go, you meet this girl, she's minding her business, I was just, I was not planning on getting into the inner court, because all I knew about church, I was one of those chicks who would sit at the back, church is over, I go home. If you are now going to take me from my innocence and expose me to this, I think you owed me
an apology.
An induction, for Pete's sake. You never enter any organization and then they don't sit you down and say, okay, here's the values, here's the mission statement, here are the...
when you read the Bible and you hear the Bible talks about...
Dude, it's
trials,
different. No, it's different between the pew.
Who betrayed Jesus?
It's different between the pew and the pulpit. What I'm trying to say to you is I was not in the inner caucus with
prepared.
I wasn't. I was one of those guys on the edge that I was just like, can I please have a bit of the bread and the fish? Now all of a sudden I'm there now handing the basket. and no, I wasn't prepared. So I was, and I must admit, I was very bitter. I was very angry. I could see you had been used, and I felt one of us had to care. And so I made the vow and the oath that if I see these people, their shadow darkens my door, or their number appears on my screen, your screen. I wasn't even concerned about myself. Like, you know what? For me, personally, there's no insult that I really wasn't bothered for me. I really wasn't bothered for me, and I didn't mind taking on insults where you were concerned. There were things where I was just like, no, rather let that fall on me, because I know he's innocent. I know that it's important for his ministry that innocence is maintained and not tainted. Yeah. That was me. I was just like, where was I coming from? I used to be a bad girl anyway, so yeah, you know what have they not said about me? I could handle. But God said to me, you are to help him, but you're not to get in my way. And what he was saying was that he had given you a heart that could forgive.
Oh, yeah.
And I needed to learn to have a heart that could forgive.
Yeah.
And I needed to stop taking on your fights. Yeah. Because when I put myself in that place, there's no vacuum in the spirit. And he has said he is the one who, vengeance is his. But when I'm putting myself in that space, we are one flesh. I'm still bringing that judgment upon you. I'm bringing that bitterness into you. It's still here. It's still localized. And so in essence, if I'm bitter, then you're bitter. Because if I'm complaining and I'm nagging and I come and tell you about how this person hurt me because they hurt you, I'm reawakening the wound in you. Yeah. I had to not bring that to you. You had walked on and I needed to just find a way to walk on it. Yeah. Many pastors' wives find this, and you find some pastors don't even tell their wives because
you can't tell your wife every fire.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to that.
Every fight that you go through in ministry.
Don't listen to that.
Women are emotional, and while you have forgotten and moved on, your wife is still dealing with it. So, man, if you
We
call,
were having a conversation last night. We forgive.
yeah,
But forget, dude. It's a little hard. It's a little hard. And you know why? For me, it's self-preservation. It's just common sense. It's like you do it once, Shem. That's on you.
Yeah.
You do it twice. Where was I looking? How Mara? No. So yeah. Anyhow, and so I found myself when you would tell me some of the stories from growing up, stories like you were just sharing now of what your mom had to go through, of the one you told me with your stepdad, how he would come home and all his children would run to him,
and I would be the only one
standing in a corner,
and they will all run.
Guys,
to
and
him.
you were about how old?
I was about 5, 6.
Guys, I'm talking and there's a lump in me because I'm a mother, right?
Yeah.
And then he pulled a gun on both you and your mom.
Yeah.
How old were you then?
I was about 6 or so.
Okay. And now this young man sometimes would have to go to the market and
sell things
and haggle to buy food to bring home. The day the lady who you used to hustle with, bargain with to reduce the prices so you could take food home to your mom. How old were you then when you were going to shop in the market?
I was about 7, 6, 7. Yeah.
Okay, 6, 7. So the day she met your mom, was like, "Oh, you are the mother of this child." This boy comes here and he's like, "No, madam, reduce the price." A 6-year-old, right?
I was very good, and that's what, and all of that has helped me today.
Yes.
Because when there was no food in the house at that time, my mom had an elder sister, so I had an auntie who had a house and she had a garden. No one told me I would go to that garden. This is a 7-year-old boy, and I'll get vegetables, cut veggies, and go sell it in the market and bring food home. My mom, my stepmother, who was my mom's maid, they used to look at me and say, "My goodness, what 7-year-old child does this?" So they when they fought my mom, they fought me like an equal because of the support system that I was.
Did they ever hit you physically?
Of course.
But did they smack you or did they fight you? It's two different things.
No, smack you, or hit you. It was or the other stepchildren from the other wives would gang up to want to fight me or make me. This is not your father's house. Da 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 da. I went through all.
So when
of
he
that.
told me these stories, and then you being homeless on the streets, and how close you came to being lynched, to being beaten, living in car parks. And guys, when we say car parks, it's not like an underground parking.
Yeah.
It's not a garage with a closing rolling door or whatever. It was these open.
It was a friend of mine's house.
Did they have?
They were just parking for cars, open. Parking.
Did they have the canopies on top?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
So where did you sleep?
I just put my whatever I had to sleep on, where the cars were parked. Just sleep there. When
In between two cars?
Yeah.
Or did you sleep under the cars?
No, just beside the car. When it began to rain, I'll get up, pack my things, and stay in the shade until the rain is over. I lived that life for a while.
And then you told me the story once when it's not funny, but sometimes you cry just to handle pain. So you were on a bench in the streets.
That was the first night I slept on the street.
And the owner of the
somebody came and said, I sleep on this bench. So I got evicted twice that night from the house I was living. And then on the street again, the bench, I was on Allen Avenue. I remember that junction. I got there and I was like, okay, I found a place to sleep tonight. And I was sleeping there. Somebody comes and say, hey. That is I evicted. I just, but let me tell you, all of that suffering has helped me to shape me. Because in those times, I had opportunity for big deals that I walked away from. And people won't know, because until my story is told, until my documentary comes out and you're like, what? You had these kind of opportunities at that time. I had opportunities.
And you kept going to church.
Oh, in fact, a lot of people just didn't even know in church at that time what I was going through. Only very few people knew that I was sleeping on the street. Then I'll come to church, do everything I was supposed to do, and go back on the street. And I did that for 1 year. And until a friend of mine, Essay, he had he was staying with his aunt. So he couldn't really give me a place. So it was in his car park outside that I stayed. So my story is known, but all of that pain, suffering, I was never bitter.
Here's the thing though. is that you're a sum total today of all those experiences then.
Yeah.
And I can see the children when you tell those stories, right? Their hearts, they're like, you know, like my daddy. The same way I feel like my husband.
Yeah.
Because for me, I see you, and the minute the Lord allowed me to fall in love with you, I saw royalty from day one. For me, you've always been a king. And so the reason that I get up in the faces of anyone who will treat you with less than honor is that I'm just like, no, you don't know. You don't know. It's almost like the subjects of a king. You can't disrespect their king in front of them. It just doesn't play. So you can disrespect me, but my husband, it won't work. And I think he treats me the same way. It's vice versa. Like, he just makes it known. If you want to be friends with me, you can't be friends with my wife.
If you don't respect my wife, you can't be friends with me.
You've lied to yourself. It's not feasible.
It's not going to happen. And I think that is something every man should do for his wife. You should let everyone know the honor you place upon your wife, and let everybody know you can't mess with my wife. You only have one. You have to place an honor on your spouse.
I just pulled a 90s move.
Can't touch it. Don't.
Guy.
No, MC Hammer was a Christian.
He became a Christian eventually. I saw him once.
Music hit me so fast.
No, you can't rap. We've had this discussion.
I used to be called Double T.
You can't rap.
I used to rap.
You may come, you may go, but you say I told you so. Want to get your groove on? Let the party come on. I can't remember the rest of it. That won't rap.
But you did that rap for Ishmael.
I know, I did. And I can't find it anywhere. I've checked YouTube, everything. Anybody watching this who might have a copy of Ishmael's breakout album when he was, maybe I should just ask him himself. I'm just go find him on Instagram or something. When he did a project with what are they called? Scheme of Ghetto Rough. Yes, Scheme, I think they were called. They were the guys who did when Vava's J. No, oh my goodness. Oh, thank God for Jesus. I was a video girl, dude. Did I tell you? Yeah, I had to be in the video most. Yeah. I must confess my things now before, like, my husband just like, go call your mother. I come out, he's like, you never told me about this. And he's watching TV, and there I am, boogie down to my varsity days. So I digress. We're not talking about rap, dude. You keep bringing rap in.
All right. Okay.
I love your laugh, and I now have a son who laughs like this. Well, I have a few. They laugh like daddy. You wonder where it came from. Oh, he laughs big. He talks big. Everything big.
Praise big and live big.
Yeah.
The big African dream.
So, I think for me, I wanted to send this out to anyone who looks at the past of their spouse. The past of your spouse might be sad. It might be bad, sad, bad. I know that we often would sit and compare our history and be like, yo, the Lord has a sense of humor. Like, our angels must have just been high-fiving each other.
When we passed each other.
Yeah. Knowing that everything we were going through was in preparation for where we were going to. Babes, I just preached. Yeah. Everything we were going through was in preparation for where we were going to. And preparation, most importantly, for the love we needed to be for each other.
Yeah.
Funny enough, what you went through, it continues to hurt me. Well, it doesn't continue because I can see where it's going. You always say, don't be ashamed of where you are.
If you know where you're going. That's what the Lord told me when I was still on the street when the Lord told me that word. And on the street, he will show me my future. I remember once he showed me a private jet. I was in a private jet, and he will show me things he's called me for. And say, that's your future.
So you could just say to yourself,
I'm telling you, for the joy set before me, he showed me. Right. He showed me. So I was more happy, like Paul. I was more happy and joyful than people who maybe had the house because I just saw my future. And the Bible says, for the joy set before him, he endured. So me, I didn't carry pain on my face. I didn't carry my challenges, my rejection, my all of those, it was like water on the back of a duck. It just rolled, and I kept soldiering on, because if I allowed those pain, those betrayal, those rejection to get into me, and I keep just thinking about who did this to me, who did that to me, yeah. I'm friends with everybody today. Like, hey, how you doing? What's your problem? I don't have a problem.
No, I'm not. And I don't mean that in an unchristian manner. I just mean it in, I think God has made us.
That doesn't mean I don't know where to draw the line with people. That doesn't mean I don't know what privilege.
Dude, I think you draw the line in pencil and I draw it in pen. Here's the thing. It's like, here's the thing, is that I will continue to serve those people till my dying day if God requires, because that is duty. I will continue to love those people. I think people need to understand the difference between love and like. Everyone who's ever betrayed, hurt, rejected, stabbed, whatever, my love is not questionable unless they're just plain old diabolical and they fly at night, right? Love, I love, but I might not like. And I believe that I have a right to determine the ambience of my atmosphere. And if you're going to pollute my atmosphere, I'm not going to let you in it. I'm not. I can love you from afar, unless I need to help you and that help requires proximity. There I become a servant. My personal emotions go to the side. I will serve you on my knees if I have to. I will do what God says to do. But I don't have to like you. And I don't have to
bring you into my space.
No, that space. Come on, even Jesus had 3, then he had the 12, then he had no. No. I think that we must, as ministers or as human beings, we must not want to love to the point that we're now bigger than Jesus, and we now don't use wisdom. Wisdom is the principal thing. So I think that's what I'm trying to say, is that I guard and guide I determine the flow and shape of my relationships on the basis of wisdom. And wisdom will come from understanding, which will come from knowledge. And when people tell you who they are, believe them the first time. But if I have to serve you, if I have to take my all and give it to you and serve you on the basis that God said to do so, I will not ask him twice. It will be done, because I know I'm not doing it to you, I'm doing it to him. I will love you. I will pray for your salvation. I will hope to see you in the line in heaven. I hope to see myself there. I'm still a work in progress. Amen. But I will guard my space. I will not give you the opportunity one more time to do what you did. And I do that in 2 ways. Either A, when you come around, because I cannot cut you out, if I'm not able to cut you out physically, I will put barriers between us emotionally. You'll be there. We'll be here together, but I won't be here. I will not avail myself to you beyond skin deep, right? So you won't get to my heart. Either that or I just keep you far. No phone calls, no meeting, no, that's the second way. But what the message, just so we can wrap up, is that each of us has walked a road. I walked a road, yes, there was suffering. But my mom had different circumstances to yours. I think the geographical location made slightly more difference. My mom had this benefit of finishing, which she then tried to instill into me, and so that gave me a bit of polish and a bit of class. We're still coming. There's still a lot that can be done, but that enabled me to be able to do the assignment I had to do in our lives now as a family. That enables me to be preparing us for where God has said he's going to take us to. So we don't get there and we are completely like, strangers, fish out of water, round peg in a square hole. We fit. And I understand that I am the diadem in your crown, right? That's what wives are. Is that the husband is the king, he's wearing this crown, but there's this jewel, that one price jewel. I mean, if you know the story of that one price jewel in the crown of the Queen of England, I mean, it's historic, and it came from South Africa, actually.
Really?
Yeah. One of the biggest carats that there are, biggest sized carats, diamonds in the world. But
So we crown kings.
We crown kings. We crown kings, yes we do. And we women, decorate those kings. I had to go through what I had to go through to be your decoration. you had to go through what you had to go through
to be the warrior,
and
the king.
And the king, because there was no king in Israel that has attained that position without being a warrior. You can't be
you have to fight the good fight of faith.
Look at this. When David did not go to war, he brought upon himself and his household upon himself particularly, an eternal judgment that now disqualified him from ever building the temple. Yeah. He could plan the temple, he could provide for the temple, but he could not build the temple because the blood that was on his hands. And he got and that blood was not the blood of war.
It became transgenerational. Yes. His children was
Yeah, it wasn't the blood of war, it was the blood of his servant who he killed because he wanted his wife. And how did he get to that place now of lusting after someone else? He was not at war. So you had to be at war. And I just, while the stories are sad and they're touching, maybe I'm just a crybaby, but the Lord has encouraged my heart so much to say I had to take him through that breaking to make him what he is today.
My compassion today, when I see people who suffer, when I see people on the street, when I'm relatable. Been there, done that,
Very compassionate.
And compassionate because, I know what it is.
I remember someone actually told you that you're foolish in your giving.
Yeah, in my giving.
Can we just tell them that you ended up on the street because you gave everything you had?
Yeah, I'd given my 6 months rent to church. I woke up and I heard the Lord say to me, take that money for your rent. Because in Lagos, you don't pay one month. You pay 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years.
And can I just say that's not an invitation for anyone to write in the comments how you see it's stupid to give to the work of God.
No. But when God says give, you give. I gave. God said give that money, and I gave, and I lost my house, and I was on the street. So for me, if I
lost the house and he gained a continent and he gained the nation.
Yeah. So for me, but the Bible says all things work for good for them that love God and are called according to His purpose. So for me, everything I have been through, the only suffering I don't want is suffering that comes by my disobedience. That is the type that it doesn't profit you because you are in that suffering because you disobeyed God. I don't want that kind of suffering.
So there's a suffering that profits.
Yes, there's a profit.
And the profit, the benefit for us, I'm talking now as a couple, you suffered alone, but we generally, you suffered and you've brought a blessing onto your children and your children's children.
Yeah, because those suffering was in obedience to God.
Yeah.
Those suffering was in obedience.
So guys, you can't live. I always say this to you. I never ever make a decision, have a conversation, do something on the basis of today. And sometimes it frustrates people because we're in a microwave, generation, and people want to do what they want to do, like we need to do now. And I'm just like, no, guys. I've looked down to the next 5, 10, 20, 50 years. I see the impact of this decision and move on my future, on my brand, or where I want to go and where I want to be, what my children. And it's not worth it. My boss once, he had said his wife, when she's pregnant, will not even take Panado. Like Panado, dude, that's power. And she said because she refuses to make a long-term decision on the basis of an interim condition. And so we've been through stuff, but that stuff has molded us. It's allowed us to be a unit or a couple that cannot pour themselves out for and to each other because neither have been broken beforehand. It is not going to be easy. Every man's still living for himself. I want my things. You want things to still continue how it was. Then I don't think you should be married. That's just my 2 cents worth, and I've always said that. But when you're coming together, there's going to have to be that sacrifice one for another, or else there is no covenant. And the things that you might have been through before prepares you for what you're going to be through together. But as our kings, those of you who've had to suffer, who have a story, and it's the same for the queens, you've laid a path, and I want to honor you today. And I'm hoping that this will help any other couples who want to talk about the same thing. But I want to honor you really for the sacrifices that you made for the sake of righteousness, because today we benefit from that. I remember the story, I don't know if I told you guys, where we needed money for the school fees for the children. I love this story because it's a lesson to me personally. Like, I keep reminding myself that when I get into accountant mode, when he says, what do we have? This person has a need, go give the person. So we had...
But all of those things I learned in in my walk with God.
Yeah.
God teaching me how to give, not even from the abundance.
Yes, we had X amount. It wasn't enough for the children's fees, and I was now saying to you, dude, we need to make a plan. We need the fees, and then another minister had a need, and you said, give him everything we've got. And I thought you were.
I think
thought you were
it's
crazy.
happened a couple of times. There was a time I was preaching in one country, and there was a girl the Lord asked me to adopt.
Yes.
And I adopted her.
And you asked me to
I would send her money.
Yeah.
And she was going to go to varsity. So she called and said, I need money for registration for my school. I hadn't paid my children's school fees when she called.
This particular story for me, because I saw the immediate impact. And so I think God wanted me to see it now.
Yeah.
As opposed to some that we're seeing much later, and we're like, yo, that seed sown there. This particular one, you said we should give it to him, we did.
Yeah.
And then shortly after received a seed that was literally times 10.
Yeah.
Not plus 10, times 10 of what we had given. Yeah. It enabled us to pay the fees. It enabled for 3 months for 4 children. Yeah. So that was a year's worth of fees.
Yeah.
12 months. 3 months for 4 children. We paid their fees, and then we published and printed the first copies of Marriage God's Way.
Yeah.
And then, now watch the testimony keep going. The 3 months later, I then called the school to say, okay, it's time to pay again. Can I please have a statement? And they send a statement that shows that we were paid up for the rest of the year. So this was June, July, August. Now I'm supposed to pay September, October, November, December.
I don't know. It was like quarter left, and they said we were paid up. And we know we had not paid up, but God stretched our seed because He just saw. Because for me,
5 fish and 2 loaves, dude.
I had a friend
became 6 months.
Whose son was having challenges, school pains.
And when I was stuttering, I was like, no, guy, you're not being serious. Every mother would be like, the security of my children. What are you saying? We need to. And he said to me, if what you have is not enough to meet your need, it's a seed. I was like,
it's a seed. It's a seed. And also for me, I can't have a close friend. We pray together.
And when it comes, God bless you, but without action.
Yes, and when he has a need,
faith without words
I turn my face.
Yeah.
And I pretend I don't know he has a need. No.
But you know what? It's not about close friend. Dude, it's not about close friend.
Yeah.
It's not about close friend. It's just who you are. This man has preached to strangers on the street. They'll receive Jesus with joy in his heart. He will run like non-stop.
Yeah.
To find the closest bookshop,
and
buy a book, and run a Bible, and run back.
Yeah, and give it to them. For me, sometimes I'll take a walk. I remember in Lagos, sometimes I'll be saving the money I have for transport. So I'll walk. I won't use it.
You see,
let me tell you. And I'll meet somebody on the road.
Production hints. You're putting shadows in my face.
Okay. And I'll meet someone on the road who doesn't have money. Or who just, can I have, please, I don't have money. Now, I was saving the money that I have. And I'll give it to them.
But you know what? You've told me stories a number of times of meeting angels that way.
Yeah, when you look back and you can't find the person. Gone. So
this
generosity
this
is
week.
good. Yes, somebody saw me by the mall and said they were asking. I was just at the ATM to draw money, and they picked me out in the queue and knelt by me and was praying for me.
Knelt down, guys.
Knelt down, pray for me
at the mall.
And
this was this week.
And I acted like I wasn't going to give them anything, and I said I want to see how patient they were going to be. Something like Jesus, I ignore people to see. Jesus, the Bible said that woman followed him everywhere.
Your children are making noise.
Yes, their father's house. So I didn't say anything. When I left, I slowed down to see if she was coming. And when I said, let me take you and I'll buy you something. She said, no, please, there's a restaurant there. I want to eat this particular food. And I said, okay, not a problem, let's go. When I turned back, she vanished. This is like 4 days
And what was she saying on her knees?
She said, when she was praying for me, please buy me just some money to eat. I just act like I wasn't.
But you said she was blessing you.
Yeah, she was praying a blessing for me. After she prayed for my family, then she said she wants some money to eat. I act like I didn't hear what she was saying. After I withdrew my money, I was walking. I slowed down, and she caught up with me. And it's okay. I don't want to give you money because I don't know if you're a drug addict. I'll take you somewhere and I'll buy you food. Just show me where I could buy you. And then she said, what I want to eat is on that, I want to eat rice. And that side, that's where they sell it. I said, where? I turned my face to look at the direction. I turned back, she was gone.
Okay, guys, listen. This video is now going to 40 minutes. We don't have an editor. It can't be cut. You need to bear with us. But wait, you've missed us for a while, right? So surely you can watch it over the weekend. Wi-Fi. I hear they say data is the new gold. Okay, so I honor you. I honor you for the sacrifices you made before we met. I honor you for the sacrifices you keep making now that we've met. Sometimes I don't understand them. I'm just a woman, and of course, couples are put together. And they're always diverse. They're always different. There's always one more generous one less generous one. There's one who calculates every cent, and there's one who doesn't. There's the accountant, and there's one who's not a planner. Anything in the pocket spend. But you need to find how to balance and love each other and honor each other and respect each other through it. But you have never been careless, and you trust me.
Oh yeah, she's a CBN. Every money
no, it's not CBN. This is not Nigeria.
Okay. Reserve Bank.
I'm Tito Mboweni, guys.
Every money that comes to me, she spends
I'm
it.
tighter.
I say, girl, because that way, if you don't want the one thing.
Because if it's in his hand, it will finish. He has to beg me in the shop. Can I please buy you this? I say I don't want.
I mean, I was in a shop recently, just 2 days ago. I was shopping for my wife, and there's some nice, really. And she said, take me a picture. Take a picture of those and send it to me. I said, love, it's going to be looking good on you.
And it was gorgeous.
I wanted to buy 2. She said, no, just
For
one.
why? For why? I have some bags, and those bags are good. But everybody says, but your bags are nice. And we know, John also can buy a bag, dude. And he'll buy it if I like it. I have it in green. All you have to do is say you like it. Ha!
I'll buy it in different colors.
You buy the shop. Guys, when they see him coming, they're like, yeah, there's the husband. They're excited. So he tells me, wait till I actually have money, girl. I'm going to show you.
When I hit $1 million.
Okay. I hope I don't change. So basically, I'm just like, no, you don't need to buy me all of that. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
So I am who I am. You are who you are. And I look at you as an emblem of generosity, and I pray to the Lord to bless me with that gift of a free heart, Though I think I do need some breaks where you have accelerator. But the point I'm trying to make is everything you've been through and everything I've been through molded and shaped us for who we needed to be for each other, for where we are going. And it is the truth for all couples. If God really called you guys to be together, He's made you're perfectly tailored.
Yeah.
You're perfectly tailored. So if you've got a woman and she can't have babies and there was something that happened to her in her youth or whatever, you pray her through. God has brought you guys together for a purpose, and He's made you, with all of her faults, all of her problems, you're perfect for each other. If you've got a husband and he too snores in bed, stupid examples, right? But things that are just, whether you like them or you don't like them, please understand that everything He's packaged in and what He brings to the table is what is needed to bring out the best in you. Maybe it'll bring out the best in you in terms of patience. Maybe it'll bring out the best in you in terms of seeing where you can do better. I can do better in terms of generosity by watching him. Maybe it'll bring out the best in you by helping mold that person through your patience. You can't change a person by nagging and saying but by being the better example. They might just gravitate to where they ought to be and who they ought to be, etc. So I honor you, and I want to encourage you, all of you watching this, to honor your spouse today. Honor their past, honor their parents, honor their history, their family.
Don't use their past against them.
Do not use their past against them. Embrace it, help them walk through it, help them heal from it.
It make them stronger and better and prepare them for where you will both go.
Going to be,
There's something my pastor always say. He said the Lord told him, I made you generous because of what I want to do in your life. That if you're not generous just because you're generous, I gave you the grace for generosity. So I don't think I'm generous because of me.
Of course.
I think God gave me that grace,
yes,
so that I can have a hand that is open. I can receive from God,
as well as give,
and I can also give. But if my hands are like this, forget it. I'm carrying.
My hands are not closed. They're like so.
Your hands are like half.
No, they're not half. They're like this. Do you see? They're like this.
Like the
they're not like this. They're not like that. They're like this.
But mine's like this.
Yours is like this. I love you.
Okay.
It's been real. So we're sitting on 45 minutes. Dude, this is too long.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry.
Maybe we'll cut it in two.
No. One. Let's go. Come away with me. Come away with me.
Twing, 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 twing.
Love you.
Love you so much. Please join us again. We can't say next week. We hope it will be.
Yeah, I'm going to make it be by the grace of God. But there are other things we'll be recording on Zoom that will, when the editor comes, we'll be able to edit them, and you'll have lots of materials that we have
marriage
been doing.
specific.
Yeah, specific for marriage that we've been doing.
We've been doing a program for
marriages
in distress during lockdown.
Yeah.
And you can just check. I'm on Zoom every single Saturday at 3:00 with my husband, and we are ministering to couples on real life, relatable, practical issues, because people are, locked down with each other, and true colors are coming out. There's a lot of abuse going on. There's just people asking questions. Oh, did we really? When I saw you from afar, you were nice from afar, but far from nice when you come close to me. And I don't know that I want to be here. So we're working with those couples every Saturday during the lockdown. So please join the Zoom programs. We'll put the link in the description box every Saturday, 3:00. We love you. God bless you. Keep you. Cause His face to shine upon you. Love you much. Love you plenty.
Okido.
Dude.